Okay, so today we're going over exercise 8 from chapter 5. This is going to be our resulting table. Excited to talk about it. This is the original question. I'll just leave it up here as we start to go over the code. So we're going to start here with a function to draw each bar of our bar chart. What's important to note here is that once the turtle's set up, it's going to go forward the amount of height. So height will just be the height of the individual bar. And then once it gets situated, it's going to write the height as a string on top of that bar. And then it's going to go forward a set amount. For me, it's 50 that I picked, and then come back down that amount of height. Let's just run this to see how it looks. This will be our basis. This is our setup of turtle and the screen in the background. This is our range of data. I'm including a negative value because I think that's interesting and important to include. So now we have our loop that we're going to start for data point in data. Here is our data. So for each value in this particular range, we're going to run our function bar chart with James, the name of our turtle, and then data point, which will be each value from this. Let's run it. Okay, I'm going to open up the screen a little bit. So we can see every time it stops at this corner, it's filling in the height value. It goes forward. It always goes forward a set amount in between the gaps and the set amount of the width of the bar, but the only thing we're varying is the height, and then also what is printed as the listed height. Okay, let's comment out our test. Okay, only thing that's changing here is color. We're adding booleans to specify the color. So again, we only have two variables, our turtle and the height of each square. So we're going to use a similar loop, but it's going to, the way the function's going to evaluate is iteratively. So first it's going to hit this first boolean. If the height is greater than or equal to 200, it's going to change its color. So the pen color will still be blue, but the fill will be red. Then it'll go through fill. It'll do the same function we saw above, bar chart with the specified turtle and specified height, and then it's going to end the fill. And then we're going to hit return here, because if our height has met the requirements of this function, we want the return so it will then exit the function and not continue to evaluate. We're using an else if for the second part of height evaluation if height is greater than or equal to 100 and height is less than 200. So if height is within this range, now the fill is going to be yellow. Again, same thing listed here. We need a return to tell it to exit the function. And then lastly, we could use an else function here. We do not need else if, or we can just leave it as the last line evaluated. If it didn't meet if or else if, it would just run this as the function. I did not choose to code it that way because it's much clearer to state specifically why. If height is less than 100, the last possible thing that could happen then is going to fill in as green and then go through the same thing and then return. Again, the return here is not necessary. The else if here is not necessary, but I coded it that way just so it comes across more legibly. Okay, now we're going to run this function. Okay, same setup as before. For data point, as in for each value in this range of data, we're going to run now bar chart with Smart Fill, our function with the Turtle James evaluating the height at each data point. Perfect, and we see it fill in each time. The turtle's correctly performing this function. The most interesting thing here to me, again, is the negative data point that is able to, once you're able to give in a negative value, it decides to go forward a negative amount, which is just going backwards. The other thing, it's below 100, so it fills in green, and it fills in green correctly, which makes sense. It's between these two values, or sorry, between these two lines, between the start and the end of the fill. That's it for today. Again, this is exercise 8 from chapter 5. Thank you so much.